The Munger secret: why getting rich is more about avoiding stupidity than being a genius. Look at the history of financial failure. They are almost never caused by a lack of intelligence. Most of the people who went broke were brilliant, ambitious. They went to the best schools, dominated their markets. So what took them down? It wasn't the unknown. It was the most obvious thing in the world: pure, simple stupidity. Charlie Munger, the right-hand man of Warren Buffett and one of the wisest men on the planet, believed that was a fool's game. For him, the real secret wasn't about being smart. It was about consistently being not stupid. This isn't just a clever saying. It's a radical, life-changing philosophy that protects you from the most common and devastating financial mistakes you're probably making right now. 1. The hidden cost of being a do-it-all. Most of us are trained to be financial firefighters. The market is crashing? Let's find the next hot stock. We're in debt? Let's get a second, third job. We run, we sweat, we hustle. But Munger said it's remarkable how much long-term advantage people like us have gotten by trying to be consistently not stupid, instead of trying to be very intelligent. Think of your financial life as a leaky boat. You're so focused on rowing faster, getting a bigger paycheck, starting a side hustle, that you completely ignore the dozens of small holes in your hull. Every small impulse buy on Amazon, every subscription you forgot to cancel, every expensive coffee, every time you eat out instead of cooking. None of those actions seem stupid on their own, but they are leaks, slowly filling your boat. Munger didn't worry about rowing faster. He focused on plugging the holes. He understood that no matter how strong you are, if your boat is leaking, you're losing the race. This is the principle of opportunity cost. By doing all these low-value, busy activities, you're missing out on the high-value activities that could change your life. Every hour you spend on social media is an hour you could have spent learning a new skill. Every dollar you waste is a dollar you could have invested in yourself. The true cost of doing something stupid isn't just the thing itself. It's the life-changing thing you didn't do instead. You can't build a skyscraper with a spoon, and you can't build wealth by digging yourself into a hole of small mistakes.
Well, Charlie said the major mistake you can make, then you're lucky if you're in the United States. If you go around the world, you don't have a lot of choices in some places, but you should write your obituary and then try and figure out how to live up to it. That's something you get wiser on as you go along. The business mistakes, you just want to make sure you don't make any mistakes that take you out of the game or come close to taking you out of your game. You should never have a night when you're worried about investing. I mean, assuming you have any money to invest at all, and you should spend a little bit less than you earn, and you can spend a little bit more than you earn, and then you've got debt, and the chances are you'll never get out of debt. I'll make an exception in terms of a mortgage on your house, but credit card debt, we're in the credit card business big time, and the world will stay in the credit card business. But why get behind the game? And if you're effectively paying 12 or 14 or whatever percent you're paying on a credit card, you're saying I'm going to earn more than 12 or 14% of money. And if you can do that, come to Berkshire Hathaway. So it's I hate to say this when Charlie's around me, but it's straight out of Ben Franklin. I mean, and it's not that complicated.
2. The dark math of stupidity and error isn't just a slip-up. It's a loss multiplier. Most people understand the math of compounding for the good, but they ignore its darker sibling, the compounding of stupidity. Munger saw this everywhere. A credit card debt isn't just the debt. It's the money you didn't invest, plus the interest you paid, plus the time you lost. That adds up. Think about a small, stupid habit, like that daily $5 coffee. Seems like nothing, right? But Munger would do the math. Over a year, that's over $1,800. invested for 30 years at a 10% annual return, those small nothings would become over $500,000. Now consider the compounding effect of a bad career choice. Maybe you took a high-stress, low-paying job out of convenience that prevents you from building valuable skills. That decision not only cost you potential income, but it stole precious years you could have spent building a more valuable skill set. But this isn't just about money. The compounding of stupidity applies to all areas of your life. An unresolved small argument with a partner can fester and compound into a deep resentment, eventually costing you the relationship. A small lie can compound into a web of deceit. A small cut in your health routine can compound into a chronic illness. A mistake might not just be a step backward. It can be a black hole that sucks away your entire future. But if stupidity is so mathematical, how can you program your mind not to fall into that trap? 3. Ego is the enemy. Why smart people fail. The number one source of stupidity isn't a lack of IQ. It's an excess of ego. Your ego tells you that you're smarter than the market. It forces you to double down on a losing investment because you don't want to admit you were wrong. Ego is the ultimate saboteur. Remember Elizabeth Holmes, the founder of Theranos. She was brilliant, charismatic, and had a single, all-consuming flaw. Her ego would not allow her to admit her technology didn't work. She convinced herself and everyone else of a fantasy, all to avoid the ego-crushing reality of failure. Munger, on the other hand, was famous for admitting his mistakes publicly. He saw humility as a secret weapon. He would constantly ask himself, "Am I thinking this way because it's true, or because it makes me feel good?" But how can you fight against your own mind, which is programmed to protect your ego? A powerful tool Munger used was called inversion. Instead of asking, "How do I succeed?" he would ask, "What is guaranteed to make me fail?" By focusing on the ways he could be stupid, he automatically found a path to success. Another tool is the pre-mortem exercise. Before you make a big decision, imagine you've failed a year later. Now, write down all the reasons why. This exercise helps bypass your ego and face the uncomfortable truths that your mind would otherwise hide from you. What do you think? What was the biggest financial decision your ego ever made? You take? Share in the comments and let's learn from each other. 4. The psychology of denial. Denial is the final boss of stupidity. It's the mental firewall that keeps you from facing the truth, even when the truth is screaming at you. Our brains are hardwired to protect us from pain, and a great way to avoid the pain of being wrong is to simply deny that a problem exists. This is why people stay in dead-end jobs, cling to failing investments, or remain in toxic relationships. It's not a lack of intelligence. It's a powerful psychological reflex. Think of Blockbuster's management. They saw Netflix, an innovative new company, and a growing trend of streaming video. Did they take it seriously? No, they publicly mocked it, even refusing a chance to buy the company for a measly $50 million. They were in denial because the truth was too painful to accept. Their entire business model was about to become obsolete. This denial led to a failure so spectacular it became a case study. Munger understood that to be a successful thinker, you must be a ruthless self-critic. You must actively search for evidence that proves you wrong, not just evidence that confirms your beliefs. Because the scariest mistakes are the ones you refuse to see. 5. The latticework defense. Most people are one-dimensional. They are experts in one thing and try to solve all problems with that single skill. Munger, on the other hand, built a latticework of mental models. He was a voracious reader of all areas of knowledge. He didn't just read about finance. He read about psychology, history, physics. Why? Because he knew that the best defense against stupidity was to have an arsenal of mental tools. For example, he understood from thermodynamics that all systems tend towards entropy, disorder, and decay. He applied this to the business world, seeing that businesses naturally tend to become less efficient and more bureaucratic over time. So, he looked for companies with a powerful moat, a durable competitive advantage that would fight entropy. He also drew from evolutionary biology, understanding that the most successful species are not the biggest or strongest, but the most adaptable. He applied this to business, favoring companies that could evolve and survive, rather than those that were simply dominant in the short term. This lattice work of knowledge allowed him to see flaws in a business model that others, armed with only financial models, would completely miss. 6. The opportunity cost of bad advice in a world full of gurus, experts, and hustle culture influencers. It's never been easier to get bad advice. Munger saw that following advice from someone who isn't genuinely wise is one of the most common forms of stupidity. It's not just the money you lose when you follow a bad tip on a stock. It's the real opportunity cost of that decision. That money could have been in a safe investment. That time could have been spent on a productive hobby. Following bad advice is like letting someone else navigate your life with a faulty GPS. They might look like they know where they're going, but they're leading you into a swamp. You waste time, energy, and resources getting stuck, and then you have to waste even more to get back on track. Munger's solution was to be incredibly selective about who he took advice from. He understood that to avoid being stupid, you must filter out the noise and listen only to those who have a track record of wisdom and integrity, not just loud voices and flashy cars. 7. The power of just not doing it. In the world of investing, everyone wants to be active. They want to buy, to sell, to trade. They are constantly looking for the next opportunity. But Munger and Buffett proved that one of the most powerful things you can do is nothing at all. They called this waiting for a fat pitch. In baseball, a fat pitch is a slow, easy-to-hit ball right over the middle of the plate. A great batter doesn't swing at every pitch. They wait for the perfect one they know they can hit out of the park. Munger and Buffett would go years without making a major investment because they were waiting for a fat pitch that was so obvious and so safe, it would be stupid to not act on it. This discipline of doing nothing is a superpower that most people are too impatient to master. They see others getting rich, and they feel the urge to act, to do something. They confuse motion with progress. Buffett famously waited 10 years to acquire one of his most profitable companies, waiting for the price and circumstances to be just right. While the rest of the world was chasing every tiny gain, he was a professional waiter, cultivating a deep sense of calm that allowed him to avoid the vast majority of stupid mistakes. 8. The circle of competence. This next rule is a direct extension of the don't be stupid philosophy. It's the circle of competence. Munger and Buffett understood that you don't have to be an expert in everything. You just have to know the boundaries of what you're an expert in. Think of your knowledge as a small circle of light in a giant, dark room. Everything inside the circle is what you truly understand. Everything outside of it is where you'll make stupid mistakes. A perfect historical example is Kodak. Kodak invented the digital camera, but they failed to invest in it. Why? Because it was outside their circle of competence. Their business was built on film and chemical processing, and they stayed stupidly loyal to it, even as the world was changing. In contrast, Warren Buffett famously avoided investing in the tech boom of the 90s for years, not because he hated tech, but because it was outside his circle. More recently, many social media companies tried to get into hardware building phones or headsets only to fail spectacularly. The lesson is clear. Staying within your circle is not a sign of weakness. It is an act of intellectual honesty and the ultimate defense against stupidity. It's not about how big your circle is, but how well you know its edges. 9. The anti-envy vaccine of all human emotions. Munger said envy was the most destructive. It's a force that will absolutely make you act stupidly. When you see your neighbor showing off a new car or a friend getting rich from a hot investment, envy enters the picture. It forces you to abandon your plan and chase what others have. You buy a stock you don't understand. You take on debt you don't need. Envy makes you abandon patience, discipline, and strategy, all in the name of a race you can't win. In today's social media world, envy is a constant threat. You see people on Instagram or TikTok with perfect lives, taking luxurious vacations, and appearing financially free. But Munger would remind us that the reality behind the picture is often a mess of debt and fake assets. The "don't be stupid" rule is the ultimate vaccine against envy. It trains you to ignore what everyone else is doing and focus only on your own journey, on your own patience. Munger understood that social comparison theory, our brains built in need to compare ourselves to others, is a cognitive bug to be overcome. Instead of comparing yourself to others, compare yourself to your past self. Are you better off than you were yesterday? That is the only comparison that matters. 10. The silent killers of wealth. This is an essential block that most people miss. We've talked about the big, obvious stupidities, but the most dangerous ones are the silent killers. These are the habits and mindsets that slowly but surely erode your wealth without you even noticing. The biggest culprit: lifestyle creep. Your income goes up, so your spending goes up. You buy a bigger house, a more expensive car, and suddenly your new salary is barely enough to cover your new, more expensive life. You're working harder just to stay in place, never truly building wealth. Another silent killer is the illusion of knowledge. This is when you read a few blogs or watch a few videos and start to think you're an expert. You begin to make complex investment decisions without a deep understanding of the underlying principles. You think you know something, but you don't, and the market will punish you for it. Finally, watch out for hidden fees. These are the small, seemingly insignificant fees that banks and investment firms charge you. Over decades, these tiny percentages can compound into massive sums of lost wealth, quietly eating away at your future. Munger's entire life was a testament to the fact that you can get rich without being in a hurry. You just have to be willing to be patient while everyone else is being stupid. 11. The inversion rule in practice. We've talked a lot about the theory of Munger's "don't be stupid" rule, but how do you actually apply it? This is where the power of inversion comes in. Instead of asking what you should do to succeed, you ask what you must avoid to fail. This simple shift in perspective can be your most powerful tool against stupidity. Let's use a real-life example: getting in shape. Most people ask, "What should I do to lose weight?" And they get 100 conflicting answers. Munger would ask, "What is guaranteed to make me fail at getting in shape?" The answer is clear: eating junk food every day, skipping my workouts, lying to myself about my progress, listening to excuses. By focusing on these guaranteed failures, you automatically find the path to success. Eat healthy, show up, be honest with yourself, and ignore excuses. This same principle applies to everything. Instead of asking, "How do I build a great business?" ask, "What is guaranteed to destroy my business?" Instead of "How do I build wealth?" ask, "What stupid things will make me poor?" This simple mental model forces you to see the pitfalls and avoid them entirely. 12. The simplicity of the checklist. Munger's final weapon against stupidity wasn't a complex algorithm. It was a simple checklist. Before any major decision, he would ask himself a series of questions to filter out the most common mistakes. This is your personal checklist. Write it down. Is this decision based on what everyone else is doing? This defends against social proof bias, the powerful urge to follow the crowd, which often leads to financial bubbles and bad investments. Am I buying this because of FOMO? This defends against greed and envy, the emotions that push you into high-risk, low-reward decisions. Do I really understand how this works? Or am I just trusting an expert? This defends against authority bias, the dangerous habit of outsourcing your thinking to someone who might have a different agenda or a faulty understanding. What's the absolute worst-case scenario if I'm wrong? This is the core of Munger's inversion method, forcing you to confront the downside and avoid catastrophic overconfidence. Am I doing this to impress someone? This defends against misguided motivation, a clear sign that your ego is in control and you're making a decision for social validation rather than true value. By running through this list, you're not guaranteeing a brilliant success. You're just preventing a catastrophic failure. And in Munger's world, that's what makes all the difference. Music, grandiose and inspiring. Visual, the camera pulls back from a smooth growth chart. The presenter appears on the screen, looking directly at the camera. Munger's life was a masterpiece of intelligent inaction. He proved that true wisdom isn't in being the most brilliant, but in being consistently the least stupid. In a world that rewards haste and flashiness, he reminds us that patience, humility, and radical honesty are the only tools that truly matter. He teaches us that peace of mind and wealth go hand in hand, and both are built on the solid foundation of not making avoidable mistakes. And the journey to becoming not stupid is a daily job. It's a choice to be a thinker and not just a follower. So, I ask you, what is one thing you will stop doing tomorrow to become financially wiser today? If you made it this far, it's because you want the kind of knowledge that actually moves you forward. To not miss the next step, subscribe now and join our community of thinkers. And hit that like button to show me you're ready for the next challenge.